He is the modern day Don Nealon.
But Don Nealon's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread.
He's bought into the program.
As the hills of West Virginia resound with the sounds of Golden Blue football.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
Let them know. Leave no doubt tonight. Leave no doubt tonight. No doubt. They shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue.
I was watching ESPN today and they showed a little thing about our game tonight in a poll. And the whole U.S. was covered in red. And the only state, the greatest state in the nation, was covered in blue, and that was West Virginia. And that's why we won this game.
Trust the climb.
And now it's time for the Country Roads Webcast.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into another edition of the Country Roads Webcast. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz, joined by my co-host Steven.
What's going on, everybody?
And Bradley.
What's up?
All right, gentlemen. So start this off, the way we always like to, just a little off-topic conversation. Anything you want to talk about, what you've been doing, anything since the past time we recorded, movies you saw, book you read, just anything you want to talk about that's been going on. What's been going on?
Not really new movies, but I've been watching the crap out of some Stranger Things.
Oh, man.
I've been loving every second of it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I watched the whole entire season all the way up to the last episode and fell asleep on the last episode, so I've got to watch it again.
I think the last episode will
great.
kind of blow your mind there. Did for myself.
Yeah, the last episode's great. The fourth episode is my favorite, but the last episode is great too.
Mm-hmm.
Last episode.
Yeah, the ending. The ending is. Yeah.
That big reveal, I was like, wow, didn't expect that.
That was nicely done. That was well written. I like that. I'll tell you one thing I did watch was a movie that came out earlier this year. I've been wanting to watch called Everything Everywhere All at Once. Oh my gosh, that's a badass movie, man. I'm telling you, that's one of my favorite movies that I've seen in a while. It's really good.
Everything
it's
Everywhere All the Time. That sounds good.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, it's
Everything.
It's this Chinese family, and the dad of the family is actually the same guy that played Data in the Goonies. That's like the first time I've seen him or anything since then, but he has the same voice and it sounds the same and everything. But it's crazy, because it's like a multiverse thing, and she gets to see all these different versions of her life and stuff. Like what if she would have made different decisions, and it takes you back, and shows if she'd done this, then this would have happened, and all this, and you could see all these different versions. And then but towards the end of the movie, when things are happening, you're seeing the main version you started with, but they're mirroring everything that's happening within all these other universes, all in the same shot. It's crazy. I've never seen nothing like it. It's awesome. Yeah, it's my favorite movie of the year besides the Batman. It's my number 2 movie of the year right now. I love it.
Wow,
sounds
cool. Yeah,
sounds like the same type of concept of movie, like Inception, or what's that other movie? Interstellar.
It's something. It's trippy like that. Yeah,
like The Matrix, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that type of movie. Exactly. It's that type of vibe. That's why I really enjoyed it. And it's that type of vibe. But then at the end, they bring it home and has heart to it too. Shed a couple tears a couple times through the movie. Not gonna lie, I'm a crier when it comes to movies. So it got to me a couple times. But yeah, it's really well done because you get that mind bending effect. Plus, the emotional side hits really good too. So yeah, I thought it was really well done. A24.
If you get all of those in one movie, man, that's a hell of a movie, right?
Yeah, it sounds really
laughing, you're crying, feeling good,
absolutely,
feeling sad. It's a full movie right there.
Yeah, exactly. That reminds me of the Jimmy V speech. Laugh every day, cry every day. All that good stuff. So it's a full movie. It's a full day.
Yeah,
absolutely. Great speech. I mean, other than that. Yeah, I was about to say I've been watching Kenobi, and I've watched Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel, I didn't think I'd really like it, but I was surprised. I liked the first episode more than I would. I haven't watched the second one yet.
It's not that I didn't like it. It was a little too Disney Channel-ish for me.
Yeah, well, that's what I was expecting. But I was expecting it to be more childish than what it was. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's not as kiddie as I thought it'd be. So I mean, I don't know. I guess expectations have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm so used to all of the other ones that they've released, like Loki and WandaVision and all of these other ones that are, I guess, more mature when you watch them. I guess Miss Marvel's meant for the younger generation though, so because she's a newer.
Yeah, it's a completely different vibe.
She's a newer hero, I guess.
Yeah, no, I haven't got to watch any
definitely.
of these. I've still been in the process of moving, so my life has been pretty well consumed.
Oh yeah, moving can be rough, man.
Yeah, that's going to take up all your time.
Yeah, but I'm here today. I'm here for football, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I despise moving. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess, like I said, Kenobi is good, though. Darth Vader has been awesome in that. So kind of mixed on it a little bit, but I love what they're doing with Darth Vader and Kenobi. So that's been good, too. Other than that, the one piece of news that's got me real excited is that the EA Sports College football game I thought wasn't going to come out till July 2023. Now they're saying maybe as early as March. So I'm like, okay, let's go. January to March possibly.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
You know me.
I
stay playing.
Obviously,
I'm still playing the NCAA football 14. That's the only game I play. Is that on the 360, still in online dynasties and stuff. So I'm just excited for a college football game to come back because that's really the only video game I play. So I'm like, I'm ready. I'm hyped. Gonna have the playoffs on it, transfer portal. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a fan I'm going to be because it's going to have the same engine as Madden does now. So
yeah,
that's the one thing. That's the one thing I'm
not
worried
really
about.
that
but
excited
I'm still going to play it
everything
regardless.
else.
So.
Yeah, to be fair, when I used to play it on 2014, I got to the point where I didn't really play the game all that much. It was all just about recruiting and managing team and like coaching.
Yeah, I think I enjoy Madden, but that's what sets the college football games apart to me is the recruiting aspect and stuff. It's just like a whole different vibe. I just always really enjoyed the college side of it, just like I do in real life, watching it and stuff. And then I think now it's going to be even more improved because you're going to have the playoffs on there, and hopefully like you can expand it and stuff. So then you can have like your whole online dynasty in the playoffs with you and stuff. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see that. That's what I got. I don't know what you guys anything else?
That's what we've been doing.
That's it. Let's jump into the news segment.
Let's go Mountaineers! Let's go Mountaineers!
All right, let's kick it off with some basketball news from the host of the CRW Hoops podcast, Steven, bringing us some basketball news. What do we got basketball wise since we last recorded, Steven? Anything?
Only a few things. Unfortunately, we did not get Courtney Ramey, so our team is set in stone for the 2022-23 season. Other than that, Taz Sherman is working out with the Hornets today. So good luck to Taz, and hopefully he can make that roster. I've really been enjoying watching the Hornets here lately, and I'm hoping he can make that roster and give LaMelo some help down there because I think them two would be really fun to watch.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, him and Gabe, I've seen them both, having some workouts, so hopefully both of them land somewhere.
Yeah, Gabe was working out with somebody the other day. Was it the?
I know I've seen him. I know I've seen a tweet about him. I think it was the Wizards. I was gonna say I know I've seen a tweet about him working out with somebody. I think it was. Nice.
I'd be surprised if he didn't find a home with his defensive prowess.
So.
Yeah, he'll definitely probably make the G League.
Yeah, that's a lot of these guys. A lot of West Virginia guys hasn't. Javon gets a lot of praise and Deuce gets a lot of praise because they've been, doing well up in the league. But there's been a lot of guys that have left West Virginia and gotten a spot for a year or two on some of these NBA rosters, like Devin Williams, Agabal Kanate. A lot of those guys still playing in the G League or trying to find a name.
Yeah,
that's true. Very true.
You also got shout out to Logan Rout. He won a national championship for whatever league he's playing in.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So,
that's
which
awesome.
he even surprised myself. Not that I'm down on him. I didn't ever think that he lived up to his full potential, but he's doing really well in his professional career. I'm really proud of him.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So I think basketball's looking. I would love to add Courtney Ramey, but I definitely think the roster is improved from what it was last year, and they did a much better job in the transfer portal this season than they did last season. And I think I saw a tweet. I think it was Fox Sports or somebody put out a tweet about the teams with like the lowest returning percentage of minutes played for basketball, and West Virginia is going to have the lowest in the country, like 7%. So it's going to be a tough job to get everyone, meshing together that quick, but I think they did a really good job and added some good pieces that fit well. I think that's one thing that Bob Huggins went for is guys that fit, his culture and stuff. So I think this team will be a lot better than last season. I think it could be maybe a tournament team again.
And they also don't factor in Emmett Matthews. So technically he's, not a returning player, but he is a returning player. So you get a player that knows, Coach Hug's system, and at the same time, I don't know. I feel like that number's a little bit skewed. Not very much, but.
Yeah, that's true. Because Emmett probably doesn't count to it, but he has. He was here longer than he was at Washington, and I think that he's going to be even better now coming back because that's a guy that really has a high ceiling. I think he has a lot of potential. I think back, that freshman year when he scored 28 on Texas Tech and guarded Culver, and they beat that Texas Tech team that went on to play for the national championship that year. So that's a guy that definitely can do some things. So I definitely think the roster is better in a better place and upgraded in a lot of spots. So I'm quietly optimistic for basketball as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come down to if they sync up well and when they really find their groove, which, it could be a team that finds their step later on. So, if they struggle out the gate but then collect it on at the end of the year, it could be something exciting to watch.
Definitely.
I think it's just like I was telling Cruz the other day. I think traditionally, especially while being at West Virginia, Hugs has, a lot of times bounce back, if not always bounce back after a losing season, just like last season, in a very strong way. So, I don't know.
But can I question, if he doesn't bounce back, if this team doesn't come together, does that make you feel any type of way?
No.
Okay.
I think
he's built up.
I just don't understand why people are so ready to give Hugs all this, what other coach besides Hugs has brought us to the Final Four? Or been consistent in the tournament as long as Hugs has been while he's been at West Virginia.
Yeah.
Other than John Beilein.
Again, I'm not doubting Bob Huggins. He's been amazing. I just, like I said, I think if he has another bad year, I just could see him stopping. I don't think that he should be fired in any retrospect, but I just don't know if it doesn't come together. I just don't know if he's going to do another year.
No, I just don't see him not having a winning season next year.
I was about to say history says that, every time that he's had, he's turned it around. Yeah. So hopefully, the history's on its side and everything, but I think that it's more, and I'm a Beilein fan myself. So, I like John Beilein. I don't not like Huggins. I like John Beilein a lot. So, but I think that the thing with Huggins,
both men are great men and great basketball coaches. So I like both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing with Huggins is a lot of the older names in coaching and basketball, if you look out, are going by the wayside, and people see Roy Williams retiring, people see Coach K retiring, and a lot of these older coaches that coached a different way and did things a different way, and the way the game has changed, and so people are thinking they're worried that West Virginia is going to get left with the passing of the times if they stick with Huggins too long. I think people will change their tune quickly if it's a positive season, but those things are going to get louder if it's another down year. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think that's a lot of the reason behind it is just people are seeing around the country a lot of the older regimes being pushed out and the game changing and stuff, and they're worried about West Virginia being left behind if they continue to struggle, because I don't think West Virginia would fire Bob Huggins. So it's going to be on him to be.
They've given him pretty much a lifetime contract.
I'm doing bad.
They're not firing Bob.
Exactly, and I think people are worried that Huggins is the type of guy that's going to be like, no, I can fix it. But then what if he can't, and he keeps that mentality of I can fix it. So then they're worried he's going to be stubborn and too stubborn to walk away when it's time to walk away, whenever that is. I'm not saying that that's now or anytime soon, but I think that's the worry with a lot of fans.
There's a huge difference in my mind between Coach K, Coach Roy Williams, and all these other coaches that are stepping down after long tenures and successful careers. And that is that Coach K has won multiple national championships, multiple shows in the Final Four. Roy Williams, same thing, and so there's a lot of these guys that have retired. Bob Huggins doesn't have a national championship, and that's been the one driving factor that has drove him while he's been at West Virginia. He's always said that he wants and will win West Virginia a national championship before he retires. And so part of me wants to believe that, this new age of college athletics would maybe possibly drive him out eventually. But in the same token, while it's changing at a faster rate right now than it ever has before, college athletics has always changed, and it's always been something you've have to learn to change with, I guess. And so I think Bob Huggins is determined to bring West Virginia that national championship because he knows what it means to the fans and the people of this state, and he knows that it's not just about, something for fans. It's about, it's really emotional for people here. That's something we can be proud of, where we don't have professional teams. Bob Huggins has always talked about that. So that might be the fan side of me that really, wants it that bad. But, for over a decade now, I've listened to Bob Huggins talking about how bad he wants to bring a national championship home to this state. And it's just, if I find it hard to believe that if he's able to, he wouldn't coach anymore. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so hard for me to believe that. But like I said, I could be wrong. I could be, there's always a lot of surprises in this industry or whatever it is that we do. So I don't know.
No, I agree though. I think that's the thing for him is like, remember 50 Cent back in the day had that get rich or die trying. I think Bob Huggins is trying to get a natty or die trying. Like that's like the mentality I see from Coach Huggins, and I love it and respect it and hope he gets there.
That's who Bob Huggins is. I mean, that's literally what he embodies with his coaching style and everything. So, so
he literally might die trying. This man fell over on the floor one time because his
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Defibrillator was going off. Hopefully not.
Saying.
Knock on wood. I don't want to wish nothing.
Well, and that's the thing. I think
I hope he wins a national championship.
Rather have that happen and have to be fired or walk away.
Right. I think that if he does,
he would
I will say this. I think that if he reaches a national championship, I'm not saying that I think that it's going to happen or anything this year. I'm just saying what ifs or whatever. I think that if Bob Huggins reaches a national championship, regardless if he wins it, or even another Final Four, I think he'll retire after that. I think that'll be solidified in his mind. But
I think he'll go out.
He's going to give it another. At least give it one more final push.
Yeah, I agree. So, basketball, we'll see what happens moving forward. I think there's some good things on the horizon though, and some good potential with the team. And so some basketball news there for you from the host of the CRW Hoop Show, Steven. We appreciate the update. And now let's switch it over to the recruiting side. If you're watching the video side, you see the Twitter handle there, but if you listen on the audio side, we'll give it out for you so you can follow them there for some of this recruiting updates. That's at Big Bubba Brad, CRW on Twitter, and he's the CRW recruiting guy. And what do we got recruiting news this week, Brad?
Honestly, it's been recruiting for West Virginia has been popping off. Right now we're sitting at 20th in the country on 24/7 Sports in recruiting. We had three guys commit, in 2 days. And I got those up here. Hold on. So we had nope. Yeah, I don't have them up. I thought I did, but I don't. We had three guys commit. One in 2 days. And I know that we're pushing again. I think Schuler Callahan's already dropped his prediction for us to get Justin Benton, which is a guy. I was telling Jordan before this, he kind of looks like Darius Stills, but he's a little bit shorter. He's just super explosive and just has big long arms that just nobody can get away from him. He was out of Georgia. He's playing 7A football. So that's a guy that I think we're looking to commit. And that's going to have us up to 11 already. And we already have a strong recruiting class. And it just seems to keep building. I wish I could keep up with it more, but again, I've been too busy. But yeah, it's blowing up right now. It's a fun time to be a West Virginia fan and watching recruiting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, maybe you could argue at an all-time high recruiting level the program is right now. It's definitely up there near the highest that it's ever been for sure. So I think it's a great time, and the future's bright, and it's coming at a great time, for West Virginia, I think, going forward. So 3 commits in 2 days. Looks like another one might be on the horizon as well, another D lineman. So the staff's done a great job of building the program through the trenches, offensive line and defensive line, and they're continuing to do that. And so you love to see that for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so there's some recruiting news, recruiting update there from Bradley there. Follow him on Twitter at Big Bubba Brad CRW. And then some football news. I got a few things here. Some small, some other news, we can talk about a little bit further if we want to. I'll save that towards, the end of the news, so that way we can dive in on it a little bit. But one thing is in July, street in Pittsburgh Hill District Street being renamed to Major Harris Street. Thought that was pretty cool. Wanted to shout out the mage there on that one. And then the other thing that I had was the Big 12 preseason all-conference teams being released. West Virginia put 11 players across the 4 teams. First teamers, they had 3 of them, Zach Frazier, Dante Stills, and Casey Legg, all first team, all Big 12 in the preseason. Second team was Wyatt Milam and Bryce Ford Wheaton. Third team, Doug Nestor, JT Daniels, Charles Woods. And then fourth team, Sam James and Taj Alston. So pretty good little nods there for the preseason all Big 12 team. And then I want to do a WVU in the pros update. Tavon Austin signed by the Bills, and just kind of wanted to run through some of the WVU NFL players for people that like to keep
thank
up
God
with
for
that.
that too. I hated watching Tavon in Dallas. Not a Cowboy
hopefully
fan,
the Bills will be a good role for him. I think potentially for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I've been saying every team that Tavon gets on, they're going to use him right. This team's actually going to use him right, but I give up.
His career would have been different if. I'll still stand by. He would have been Tyreek Hill before Tyreek Hill if he'd have went to a team that used him, like that. But
yeah. He lost a lot of potential. I hate that for Tavon.
Yeah, I do too. Let's hopefully it's a turnaround. But WVU players in the NFL currently on rosters. You got Nick Kwiatkowski with the Falcons, Tavon Austin with the Bills, Kenny Robinson with the Panthers, Tony Fields with the Browns, Will Grier with the Cowboys, Rasul Douglas with the Packers, Gary Jennings with the Chiefs, Letty Brown with the Chargers, Adam Pankey with the Dolphins, Yannick Just with the Patriots, Kevin White with the Saints, Mark Glowinski with the Giants, David Seals also with the Giants, Trevon Wesco with the Jets, Kaiser White at the Eagles, Carl Joseph with the Steelers, Geno Smith with the Seahawks, Cole McKivitz with the 49ers, and David Long with the Titans. Of those currently listed first string on depth charts, David Long at middle linebacker, first string for the Titans. Geno, first string quarterback, looks like he might be the starter for Seattle this year. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. 10 years later, finally getting that shot. And then Mark Glowinski, first-team offensive lineman with the Giants, and then Rasul Douglas, first-team corner with the Packers, carved out a nice role, signed a nice deal this offseason. So that's pretty much what I got. Football news. And the last thing, and I want to save this for last because I'm sure we'll want to talk about it a little bit, is the official announcement that the 4 teams will be joining the Big 12 in 2023 in UCF, Houston, BYU, and who am I blanking on? Somebody else. But Cincinnati. Yeah, of course. Obviously, the one that West Virginia is probably going to be like the new rival with. But so we knew BYU was coming in 2023.
New /
now
old.
The AAC teams are coming as well. Yeah, old / new / old new. But but now we know that the AAC teams are coming as well. So 2023 looks like, unless Texas and Oklahoma leave, it's going to be 14-team league that year. What are your guys' thoughts on those teams coming in? What do you think the Big 12 is going to do? Are they going to go divisions? Do you think they'll go some other way? Or do you think they'll do it one way while Texas and Oklahoma are here and then switch once it goes back to 12 again? And just your overall thoughts on those teams joining the conference.
Yeah, I definitely don't think there's going to be divisions. I think it's pretty resounding that divisions are out. I think so. But, I'm excited to have some new blood in here. I have no idea how they're going to do scheduling. I'm sure it's going to be a hot mess. I do think that it's going to be the second thing that you said, where it's going to be way, like, we're going to probably run the 14-team system one way, and then as soon as they leave, we're probably going to change it up. If I had to guess,
I think so.
It'll probably be more streamlined by the time it comes back down to 12 teams.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think that I'm like you. I think they're doing away with the whole, divisions. I think that's, especially since the NCAA announced that you don't have to have divisions.
Right.
And the Big 12 has always prided themselves to say, more or less on not having divisions and, having the 2 best teams in the conference play for the championship of the conference instead of, having, how it has been in the ACC for however the last many years. I think it's a better model. I think that you should have the two best teams playing for the championship every single year, and so that's one thing that I actually will give credit to the Big 12 on.
Yeah, actually, one thing they've
I'm
done
real
right.
excited about. I'm real excited about Cincinnati joining, but I would be remiss, and I think that you guys are probably going to full force agree with me on this. But
I already know what you're going to say.
I'm so excited for Houston, man. I'm so excited for Houston to be in Morgantown. That first game, oh man,
Oh yeah.
oh man.
I hope they come to Morgantown right away in 2023.
I'm not that petty of a person, but I'm thinking about wearing just like a mock-up, like Dana
Holgerson, Red Bull in one hand.
Yeah, like a Red Bull,
headphones in the other.
Like some cocaine smeared, like, you know what I mean? Like do like the full thing.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati's going to be like the obvious rival, but Houston's
right,
definitely
because
be
they've
like
been a rival before.
Because that with Dana is going to be heated when he comes to Morgantown.
Because Houston itself isn't going to be the rival.
Wild.
It's going to be Dana is going to be the rival. That's
exactly. I mean,
that's what's going to be so fun.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be like Lane Kiffin going back to Tennessee and getting golf balls thrown at him bad, but he's definitely going to get heckled.
Listen, I'm not a big fan of Lane Kiffin, and I haven't been a big fan of Lane. Well, no, he's starting to grow on me. That's completely
classless.
Ridiculous. Yes, very classless. Golf balls, come on now. Like that was, oh man. There's a lot of things that I've seen in college sports and sports in general. And the malice at the palace. I mean, there's been some bad stuff go on, but throwing golf balls, that is like, I can't help but laugh at that. That is the most. Oh man.
Yeah. Tough.
I literally forgot about it until like I seen someone talk about it the other day. I was like, oh yeah, that happened last year. That's right.
It did.
I gotta say though, man,
Lane Kiffin like had the golf ball, I think, right? Like, didn't he have the golf ball and like tweet about it?
Oh
or
yeah,
something?
he was like, he was making a fun time out of it. You got to give him.
That's great.
I gotta say though, man, as much as a person like, I did not like Lane Kiffin at first when he came from Tennessee and left and went to USC and like the whole situation. I was like, I just don't see how anybody can like that guy. But like, I don't know, man. Ever since FAU and now he's at Ole Miss, like he's growing on me, man. Some of the things he says, like the way he talks about college athletes, he just keeps it real, and I can't help but like that.
He does. I've really come around on him too. I like him too.
Yeah. I think he's grown as a person. I think that's something.
That's what it is.
Too.
He was super young, back then. Yeah, he grew up in coaching. He was super young when he was first starting out.
You can tell he's regressed on talking all that shit that he used to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He still does, but not as much.
More selective.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's like, I'm gonna make sure we can win this game. It's not Alabama we're playing before I'm guaranteeing a win.
Exactly. That being said, when Houston comes back, I'm all for giving Dana a hard time, but let's keep it classy. But yeah, I mean it's gonna be wild.
True.
It's gonna be wild.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
rowdy, but
there's gonna be
throwing
ruckus.
nothing. Don't nobody be throwing. That's just
the
worst thing you can do in
like
any
that.
situation, not just a sporting event, but it's just dangerous. You'll hurt somebody.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, and that's what I'm talking about West Virginia though. Like at the perfect time, I think everything coming together with Neil Brown getting the culture established, with where recruiting's at right now, like we said, and bringing in Graham Harrell and JT Daniels, which JT Daniels may only be here 1 year, but hopefully Graham Harrell's here at least 2 or 3, in the conference about to shift. So as Texas and Oklahoma are leaving, it's wide open for someone to take over as the new big dog in the conference. And I think West Virginia's positioned themselves with Neil Brown, hiring him at the right time before all this happened, to where he's now 4 years, going to be 5 years in when these other teams join, that West Virginia has a great chance of, grabbing that top dog spot and getting back to, running things like they did in the late Big East days. And I think that looking at this conference, West Virginia can beat any of these teams. And I think it's a great position. I'm really excited about the future of West Virginia football right now, with the new look of the conference and where West Virginia is going to be at, with guys coming in like Rodney Gallagher, Caden Prather on the roster, Nico Marchio, and the other high-level recruits that West Virginia is bringing in, with the conference, about to shift. I think it could be time for a West Virginia takeover. What do you guys think?
Well, and to that point, you want to look at somebody else that's killing recruiting right now out of the same area that we're recruiting out of right now. Is Cincinnati. Their recruiting class is taking off right now, and that's because they've
They're
been
top 5 right now. I think
they've been putting work out on the field.
Playoff appearance, man.
And so I'm saying that's the kind of recruiting that it takes to start getting to consistency at the level we want to be at. So, it's definitely capable and we're possible of doing it. So, we've got to, if we're going to do it, it's got to be now. And it only takes, 2 or 3 years Cincinnati's string together, some consistent few years, and you have a recruiting class, like you said, in the top 10. So that's all it takes. Just a few consistent years.
That's recruiting classes in my mind and in my opinion are more or less a snowball effect. So if you get one recruiting class, then you're more than likely going to have 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 good recruiting classes that more or less get better, or stay around, that same, general type of recruiting class. And I mean, and like I touched on it before, this doesn't just start here. It goes back to even when Will Greer and, a few of those guys decided to come to West Virginia. A lot of those are still coming into play now. And even so, like the recruits that we're getting now are going to come into play whenever we're getting, we're looking at bigger and better recruits in the next few years. So,
yeah, and recruiting right now has changed completely. They don't even think that we're going to be going for. Obviously, we're not going to go for 25, but they say that high school recruits could get down to like 18, like 17, 18 high school recruits is about all you're going to take, and you're going to hold about 7 or 8 for transfers because that's just the way the game is right now. And then they just got rid of class size limits. So I mean, you can take as many as you want to. It doesn't matter. So,
and that's the thing. Like the focus is becoming less on the recruiting class and more on the transfer portal class. Or even like a 50-50, on them both. But
that's where we're getting like you. That's where we're getting like you, where the guys like Justin Bitton, the lineman that I brought up in recruiting earlier, he's crystal balled to go to Georgia, and Georgia's actually decided not to take him, and they didn't even bring him on for an official visit. So West Virginia was like pretty much his next school up, and we definitely want him because he's a stud defensive lineman. But that's probably something to do with transfer, like the transfer portal really messing with recruiting, because Georgia now can just go fill that spot immediately. They don't have to, invest in this 3-star kid where, we'll take him. We're a little bit stacked on the defensive line right now. We can take a kid that, can come in and progress and then become top notch. So.
Exactly. That's what we're a developmental program. So, we can definitely do that. We've prided ourselves on that over the years. And I think Neil Brown's done a great job of getting back to that. And that's the one thing that was missing, with the Dana Holgerson regime, not to get back to him too much, but building your program year to year, you miss those developmental guys that you've developed over 3 to 4 years and then step in, right when a guy leaves and stuff, and getting back to that's big for the program to keep it going, not only, with success year to year, but long-term success. And that's what I think I'm excited for with this staff, is the potential for long-term success. And I think it starts this season. We really need to really get the ball rolling this season, have a good year, and that's going to kickstart everything, I feel like. So I think that West Virginia's in a good spot with this conference expansion if it gets off to a good start with a good season this year. That being said, I did kind of want to get into our kind of leads right into our main topic of the show that I want to talk about, which is going to be worst football losses in our lifetime and best football seasons in our lifetime for WVU.
Let's go Mountaineers, let's go Mountaineers.
Worst football loss, obviously we're going to exclude the one game that's obviously probably going to be number one on everyone's list.
I was going to say, I don't even know if we should even play that game because I don't.
Yeah. We're not even going to talk about that damn game. Like, get that out of here. So
I've got another one.
Worst football loss. Other than that, we're going to each give ours, in our opinion. And then I want us to all rank our top 5 best WVU football seasons that we've seen in our lifetime after that. So first, let's start it off with get the bad out of the way. Worst WVU loss you can remember in your lifetime besides the game that took place on December 1st in a year that the game that I'm talking about against that team that eats feces. But aside from that game, what is the worst WVU football loss that you can remember in your lifetime, Steven?
I am probably going to go. It was Cincinnati, I think 08 or 09. I believe anyway. And that game, I'm choosing that game because it was also one of the funnest games that I've been to in a way. And West Virginia's down, I think, 21 points around that number in the fourth quarter. And, me and my grandfather had given up hope. We were going to leave, and we did leave. And, he's got his headphones in, and you can hear Tony Caridi on the PA speakers. And we go down and we score a touchdown. Still like 2 minutes left, so we're like, okay, it's still over. That touchdown don't matter. So we're walking out of the stadium, as is everybody else, because there's 2 minutes in the game. We're still down 14 points. So we get the ball back, and we score again. It wasn't 21 points. I remember now. It's 17 points because we got the ball back and we scored again. So we scored another touchdown, right? And so at this point, we're like, holy hell. Okay. So then we go to kick the ball off again. Pat McAfee kicks it perfectly. One of those little bounce kicks that just go straight up in the air. It's an onside kick, but it's designed for for you to be able to be in a jump ball situation, more or less, when the kicking team gets to it. And so West Virginia miraculously gets the ball back. And at this point, we're standing at somebody's RV in the blue lot watching this football game where we were just watching the game live in the stadium. We've come back to potentially be able to tie this game with like 2 seconds left in regulation. And Pat McAfee obviously drills the field goal. And I think it was like a 40 or 50 some yard field goal.
Yeah, I think it was over 50.
I think it was over 50 if I'm remembering correctly. And so Pat McAfee ties that game to send it to overtime. And at this point you're thinking, man, how is this one of your worst games? Well, here's why. Because everybody that left that game decided to rush back in at the same time. They weren't even checking tickets. 60,000 people in that stadium rushed back in. And it's not like they all went back to their, assigned seats. They all stayed in one end zone. So they're like, everybody's just Travis Scott concerted it up, like right there in that one end zone, like smothering the fuck out of each other, And like, so we come back in, we're all excited, thinking West Virginia's going to come back and win this game. Cincinnati ends it, and we lose. So, yeah, that's probably probably one of the worst games.
No, I remember that one.
Yeah, that was a hard one.
I remember that one because that's a game that messed with my superstition, because what had happened was we were watching the game at my aunt's house, me and my parents and stuff, went over to my aunt's house, watched the game there. Whole game, terrible, playing shitty all game, just awful. Looking terrible. I'm like, all right, so we get down by that. Like, I think we had a chance to try and score or something. We didn't, and we were down 17, Cincinnati, getting the ball again. So we was like, all right, forget it, let's leave. We roll out. Yep. Well, we're listening to it on the radio on the way back, just to make sure. And as we're coming back, that's when that comeback starts happening. So like we pull into our driveway when they're kicking the onside kick, and we're like listening to the onside kick and the field goal. They kick the onside kick. He hits the field goal. We're going to overtime. We're still in the car. So we're like, y'all want to go back? We're like, yeah, let's go back so we can watch it. Go back for overtime to watch it there. And to this day, I still feel like if we'd have stayed in the car and listened to it, we'd have won, because we went back to where we were playing shitty when we were watching it before, and we lost. So I'm like, I partly blame myself.
Yeah, you made you superstitious real quick.
Those superstitions are real.
Yeah.
We don't want to tell them about Texas Tech in 2017? Is that what it was?
2017 Texas Tech game, yeah. Same type scenario. Me and Steven watched the entire game, or entire like second half, in the concourse on one of the TVs at Mountaineer Field, because that's when we were playing good, and we came back and won the game, so we couldn't leave from the concourse. Yeah, those superstitions they're real for sure. For sure. Well, but Bradley, what about you? Worst WVU football loss you can remember?
Yeah, so again, I'm a little bit of a newer fan than Jordan and Steven here. Like I started watching a little bit later on, so I don't got as much 2009 and before memories. But I'm gonna go to 2000, and I think it's 18 when we lost we had Will Greer, and we were tearing it up, and we lost Oklahoma State. And we were up 31, like it was 31-24 going into the fourth quarter.
I think it was 31-14 or something. It was like, we were up like 14, 17 and a half, I think, something like that.
Yeah. And so, and then like, because we were we were marching, and then I think we had just beaten Texas, and we're moving and flopped with against Oklahoma State. So that's definitely my most depressing one. That one was tough. I remember just being crushed afterwards and just like not talking for about a couple hours.
Yeah, I was very upset about that game as well.
It was such a West Virginia thing to do.
That's my pick too. Yeah, that's the same one I was going to go with. I think, like I said, besides the one that we're not talking about, that one's really ranks up high there to me. And I also wanted to shout out Tyler Davis at T_Davis41 on Twitter. Good WVU guy. It puts out a lot of WVU stuff, and that's actually where I got the idea for part of this episode from, because he ranked his, or listed some of his worst WVU football losses of all time. I thought that was pretty cool, so I wanted to kind of get our thoughts on it. But yeah, that's mine as well. 2018 Oklahoma State up by 14 or 17, whatever it was at half. All you got to do is close out the second half, and you're in the Big 12 championship game, regardless of what happens next week. Would have been in West Virginia's first Big 12 title game, should have been. So, that kind of curtails into the next thing that I want to talk about, our other main topic, which is ranking our top 5 seasons in our lifetime. It's because of that loss, that 2018 season does not make my top 5. So I'll go ahead and run through my top 5 right now. 5th, I'm going 2016, Skylar Howard, 10-win season year. Underrated year in Mountaineer history to me. Loved that season. Got a lot of enjoyment out of that season, watching that season. Russell Douglas, top of the nation in picks, and Skylar Howard, one of my all-time favorite Mountaineers. So really loved that team, even though they didn't, win the bowl game. They didn't, make the Big 12 championship. They did give West Virginia the only 10-win season in the Big 12. So still special, I think, and in recent years, one of the better ones that I can remember. And I prefer that to 2018, even though the 2018 team, maybe you could argue was closer to the Big 12 championship game, but I like that 2016 season, so that's my number 5. 4th, I'm going 2012, West Virginia, Dana's first year, 2011, Dana's first year, West Virginia wins the Big East, goes on, wins the Orange Bowl. That was a good year. 2012, was a great start, bad end, but 2011 is the one West Virginia wins 10 games, wins the Big East, wins the Orange Bowl. That's my number 4. Number 3, 2006. Great year. Ended it with beating Georgia Tech in the Gator Bowl. A little bit of a letdown because you didn't get to the BCS after being there the year before. So that's why it comes in at 3rd, but still a great season. Ended up winning 11 games as well. And then number 2 for me, 2005, season before that, 11-1. A team that kind of reminds me a lot of West Virginia's team that they have here in 2022, where people aren't expecting a lot of new pieces. People are kind of down on them, and they come out and surprise everyone. And that team went 11-1 and won the Sugar Bowl and kicked off a great 3-year run. And that 3-year run culminated in my number 1 season in my lifetime, 2007, arguably the greatest team in Mountaineer football history. And you'll never be able to tell me that wasn't the best team in college football that year. The Oklahoma team that West Virginia beat by 20 points in the Fiesta Bowl was better than both Ohio State and LSU, who played for the national championship that year. And West Virginia should have been in the national championship that year, but, that's another discussion. But best team I've seen in my lifetime by far, for sure, that 2017. But what about you guys? Top 5 seasons in your lifetime?
I'll jump on it first. I mean, you had most of my top 5 in there too, considering I've only been watching since, right there at the end of the Pat White eras. So, 2007 is definitely at the top. I just think it's funny that the one loss that we can't talk about is part of your favorite season. And I just thought that was funny. But yeah, no, the rest of mine would be the same as yours, because like I said, I've only been watching since then. So the 5 10-win seasons that we've had since then are definitely my top 5 seasons. I loved Skylar Howard season though. That was one of my favorite seasons to watch. I love that guy. Loved his grit in his play. I know a lot of people don't like him, but man, I thought that was just such a hard fighting team to want, that you couldn't help but support him and watch him.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mine's going to be very similar to yours, Cruz, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I think I'll surprise you. But I've got some valid reasons, and I've mentioned these before. But 5, I would probably go 2016, the Skylar Howard year, because like you, I believe that year was still is vastly underrated, and Skylar Howard is vastly underrated. He doesn't get near as much credit as he deserves for not only having the only 10-win season that West Virginia's had in the Big 12, but winning a bowl game. West Virginia doesn't have very many of those in its history, and he was able to do that in the Cactus Bowl. And I know it's just the Cactus Bowl against Arizona State, but a bowl win is a bowl win. And so I'd put that one up there. And if we get a quarterback with his grit and his grind, like, I would not be bad at that. I really miss watching Skylar Howard play.
Yep.
4, I would probably go. I'm gonna say 04 because they surprised a lot of people. They really did. They bounced back off of a bad loss to Maryland in the Gator Bowl a year before. Quincy Wilson or not Quincy Wilson, but KJ Harris and Rasheed Marshall, Pac-Man Jones, a lot of those guys. That was a really, really good season, and it was I think for a lot of those guys going into the next season, it was very important to them, and it was really, especially for the defensive side of the ball. They lost Pac-Man, but they really kept a lot of good players in Boo McLeod, which I really know you don't like him a lot. You don't like him a lot, Cruz, and for good reason. I think he's been in the news in a bad nature, but
yeah.
But yeah, just mentioning guys on that team. I liked watching him play football back then anyway. So I'll go 04. Then at 3, I would go 2011 because that Orange Bowl year is undeniably great. And I think that was one of the most entertaining teams to watch in all of school history, in my opinion, with Tavon and Steven and Gino.
Yeah, it was just exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Number 2, I would go 2007. And I don't mean to discredit them in any way, and I loved watching them that year. But the Pitt game, in my opinion, while there's a lot of, unanswered questions and things like that, I just feel like that team, that even being a rivalry game, they should have won that football game, and they should have, like you said, they were the best team in college football that year, undeniably, and I do agree with that. And I think that's the reason I put them at number 2 is because they should have beat Pitt that year, and they should have went on to win the national championship. And because they didn't live up to their potential, I have to go 2. Now at number 1, I would go 2005, and because I still stand by the reason that they didn't win a national championship that year was because Steve and Pat didn't start against Virginia Tech. And had those 2 started against Virginia Tech, I still believe to this day that West Virginia would be undefeated and would have won a national championship because they rolled into Atlanta and they rolled Georgia that night. And I think that they would have done that. 2007 gets a lot of credit, but I think that Pat being as young as he was and Steve Slayton being as young as he was, I think it was more of a matter of how healthy they were at the time. I don't think it was, in 2007, Steve was struggling to stay healthy. You know what I mean? Pat was struggling to stay healthy. I think 2005, and I know that I'm the unpopular opinion in this, but I will go to my grave probably thinking that was the year that we could have won the national championship, even more so than 07, I think. I've always thought that was our year. So
hey,
I would put that year number 1.
I respect it. That 2007 season, I don't know something about it because I guess that was the year where I
don't mean to discredit the 07 season, but like I said, I have valid reasons.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it's understandable because for me, 05, I was a fan, but I wasn't into it as much as I was. 07 was the first season when I really started paying a lot of attention, knowing the roster before the season and stuff. And I specifically remember sitting in freshman year in high school. That was my freshman year in high school, 2007. And we were sitting in a computer class looking at the schedules because West Virginia had just lost to South Florida, what was it, week 4, week 5 of the season. Both of them were top 5. West Virginia lost. Yep. I remember looking through the schedule of how West Virginia could get back in the rankings, what teams needed to lose for West Virginia to get up to number 2, by the season end, 1 or 2. And I was like, okay, this needs to happen. This needs to happen. This needs to happen. And I'm like, okay, Illinois is going to upset Ohio State. Arkansas is going to upset LSU. All these things are just going to happen. And then I'll be damned, going through the season, boom, Illinois upsets Ohio State that week. that I was like that we were looking at that and happened. Then Arkansas upsets LSU, and I remember that because I was late for basketball practice in high school because we sat and watched that triple overtime. Arkansas beat LSU because that meant that West Virginia will be ranked number 2 the next week if that happened. So I remember being late for basketball practice just to watch that. So just like going through that season, like
Wasn't
the roller
that on a
coaster of it, and
Sunday?
saying like this could happen to get them up there. I think it was because I think West Virginia had
was
played
weird.
played Cincinnati, and then they then that game happened. And then the next week West Virginia was number 2, and that's when they played UConn and won 66-21. And then the last game, of course, was the last game. But yeah, just that season was special because I remember that specifically, and then that stuff like actually happened and that needed to happen, and West Virginia actually getting to number 2. Like I was like, oh my God, it's actually happening. And
Because I remember
feeling,
watching that
I'll just never
Arkansas
forget it.
LSU game thinking like I thought it was a rerun at first. That's why I didn't think it was a live game. And then as the game went on, I'm like, wait, this hasn't happened yet.
Darren McFadden and Felix Jones and the Wildcat, upset LSU and got West Virginia up there.
Man.
That was good times for sure. But so that's our worst W football loss, and then ranking our top 5 best seasons in our lifetime that we enjoyed and that we didn't enjoy when it comes to the losses. But a lot of good memories there, and brought back a lot of memories and a lot of good stories there. That being said, y'all want to hit it up with our final segment, play some Mountaineer multiple choice, couple rounds, and then we'll get out of here.
Sure.
Let's get it
All right,
going down,
let's do
Brad.
Let's go Mountaineers, let's go Mountaineers.
I think I won last time, right?
Makes
Or-
its
You
return.
did win last time.
Yeah, Brad.
I'm
I won
extra
last time.
I think
motivated.
Brad won
Yeah.
last time. Yep, because last episode depth chart projections ran a little long. Didn't play Mountaineer multiple choice, but we're back this week. So Bradley, you won. Do you want to go first, or do you want to make Steven go first?
Nah, give it to me.
All right, let's do it. All right. No running back in WVU football history amassed more receiving yards than me. I own the career record for receiving yards by a running back with 906. Who am I? Is it A, Noel Devine, B, Robert Alexander, C, Steve Slayton, D, Jim Braxton?
I think Noel Devine got the ball out of the backfield a little bit, so I'm gonna go Noel Devine.
Noel Devine is incorrect. Steven, chance to steal for 5 points. You have B, Robert Alexander, C, Steve Slayton, D, Jim Braxton.
Oh man, I'm gonna go Steve.
Steve Slayton is the answer, and that is incorrect as well. Stumped again. The answer is actually Jim Braxton. 906 receiving yards in his career at running back. All right, Steven, your question.
That was a hard one.
That was a tough one. It was tricky. All right. Oh man, of course you get an easy one. I broke the WVU season record for passing yards when I threw for 4,385 yards in 1 year. Who am I? A, Will Greer, B, Mark Bulger, C, Geno Smith, D, Major Harris.
It's Geno.
Yeah, Geno Smith, correct. 3 points for Steven.
That's too easy.
Wrong, giving you like the full amount of points for that one. All right, Bradley, back to you.
Might as well just be like, what quarterback wore number 12
one-
from the years?
This one, I feel like Bradley should get this one too, though. So at least
we'll
it's kind of even. This one's a little bit easy too, I think. I hold the WVU record for most receiving yards in a game with 303 yards. Who am I? A, Chris Henry, B, Tavon Austin, C, Stedman Bailey, D, Rashawn Vanderpool.
It's Tavon Austin.
Oh, Stedman Bailey. I didn't.
You didn't give Steven a chance.
Steven, I'm not giving you a chance to steal on that one because you got an easy question, and then
You
I was
told me
gonna
it
say,
wasn't-
yeah.
we'll just bounce it
You
back
told me
to
it wasn't
you.
little
We'll bounce
touch.
it back to
You told me it wasn't little touch passes.
I think Tavon had like a couple 200 yards, but I think Stedman's 303 was against Baylor when Geno had 656.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'll
when we
still stand
scored.
by. Since you said that, Stedman got robbed of that award that year.
Oh,
I don't care what
Blitnikoff,
anybody
for
says.
sure. That the biggest robberies in WVU history. Stedman Bailey not getting the Blitnikoff, Kevin Jones not getting Big East Player of the Year. That's the two biggest ones right there.
Yep.
All right, Steven, here you go. 3 points. Steven, you're up 3-0 right now. We'll do another round or so. I broke the WVU record for most rushing attempts in a single season when I ran the ball 335 times in one season. Who am I? A. Quincy Wilson. B. Amos Zaraway. C. Ira Rat Rogers. D. Avon Coburn.
I want to say Amos.
Amos Zaraway is incorrect. Bradley, chance to steal and take the lead. A.
Right.
Quincy Wilson. C. Ira Rogers. D. Avon Coburn.
I'm going to go Avon Coburn.
Avon Coburn, correct. Bradley jumps out to the 5-3 lead.
I knew it was either one of those.
Sweet. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I meant to say.
I knew.
That's what he meant, that one. Okay, Brad, no one in WVU history amassed more receiving yards than I did. I own the career record for receiving yards with 3,413. Who am I? A. Tavon Austin. B. David Saunders. C. Sean Foreman. D. Stedman Bailey.
Okay, this has got to be Tavon Austin, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's correct.
He's definitely had a longer career. So.
Career leader in receiving yards. Good job,
Should have
Brad.
drugged that.
Bradley up
Should have added some
8-3.
suspense to that one.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I already
take
felt
one. You should have been like, yeah, you got it.
Yes.
You got it.
I do. I need to play. I need to add the suspense of the answer. I need like a correct buzzer or an incorrect buzzer or something. Might have to.
We need some neon flashing lights behind you. You can just.
And that.
I guess I could just plug it in and post when I edit, but
Yeah, you gotta have
That's
like a
not
game
working.
show, host
I'm
type
lazy.
vibe.
So.
We need some lights or whatever, some
We
Vegas lights.
We do. Some we'll have some theme music playing in the background behind the game show. I can do it if I'm not lazy enough. We'll see. When you listen to it, you'll see if I did it or not. You'll either be hearing music right now when you're listening to this, or you won't. If you do, I'm not lazy. We'll see how it goes. All right,
Thanks,
Steven.
Jordan.
Bradley's up 8-3.
God, I gotta
In my
get on the
WVU
ball.
football career, I ran for more yards than anyone else ever has. I rushed for 5,164 yards in my career. Who am I? A. Steve Slayton. B. Avon Coburn. C. Pat White. D. Noel Devine.
Pat.
Pat White, incorrect. Bradley, chance
You
to
said,
steal.
did you say running back or did you just say
No, most rushing yards in a career.
it wasn't Pat? Damn.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Bradley, chance to steal. Steve Slayton, Avon Coburn, Noel Devine.
Okay, will you read the question again?
Yep. In my WVU football career, I ran for more yards than anyone else ever has. I ran for 5,164 yards in my career.
I think it's Noah Devine.
You said Noel?
Mm-hmm.
Incorrect. Avon Coburn. All
I was
right.
tempted to go with him
Final
again,
round.
Hey.
Final round here. Bradley, starting with you. I ran for more touchdowns in a single season than anyone else ever at WVU when I crossed the end zone 19 times in one season. Who am I? A. Ira Rogers. B. Steve Slayton. C. Avon Coburn. D. Amos Zaraway.
So, even if I get this wrong and Steven steals, we're only tied.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Unless he steals and then gets a correct answer, that's like the only way you can win.
All right, so 19 touchdowns in the season. I'm going to go Steve Slayton.
Steve Slayton is incorrect. Steven, you are alive with a chance to win the game. 19 rushing touchdowns in a season, most in WVU history. Who is it? Your three options remaining: Ira Rogers, Avon Coburn, Amos Zaraway.
Let's go with Avon.
Avon, incorrect.
Damn it.
The answer
Is
is
it
Ira
Coburn?
Rogers.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, Ira Rogers, 19 TDs back
God,
in the
nobody
day.
scored more touchdowns than that man. It's been a
Nobody
long
did.
time.
And you would think Slayton did, because Slayton had like 55 in 3 years, but never over 19.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. But all right, so Bradley, you second
Hate this
consecutive
game.
victory. But Steven, I'm gonna give you one more question because it's 8-3. You can't really win, but you can make it closer. So we'll end it off with this question. I hold
All
the
right, let's
WVU
do
record
it.
for passing yards in a single. How do you always? I'm not even gonna. I hope the WVU record for passing yards in a single game was 656.
What? What is the question?
I hold the WVU single game most passing yards in a single game at WVU, 656. Who was it?
Smith Gino.
Eugene of the Smithers, of course. It's another easy one.
Eugene Smith.
Hey, Bradley.
really got the same question twice.
Basically, you got two good Gino questions. Hey, but even with his two easy questions, Bradley comes up with the win. Bradley's the winner of Mountaineer Multiple Choice this week. Bradley, victory speech. You have the floor. Take it away.
Steven doesn't know anything about Mountaineer athletics.
Apparently not.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's always a lot of fun. Love the final segment of Mountaineer Multiple Choice.
Fun's
Always
the word.
great. Hey, I just get to ask the questions and enjoy you guys battling, so it's always fun for me.
Yeah.
I think
Apparently, I get
that
that
Bradley has the answers up on his computer screen. I'm playing fair and square.
Yeah, you'd hear me. You
He's just
can hear
sitting
me
there.
type.
He's like, what's the question?
I got to come up with some more trivia. I might start throwing a little basketball and some other stuff in there to mix it up a little bit, and other than just football.
Oh yeah,
maybe
because that's not
some
going to hurt me.
different stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe do some West Virginia like state trivia too, or something. Just some different.
Brad,
stuff
you
in
need
there.
to brush
We'll
up
see what
on
I come
your
up with.
WVU history.
You
Okay.
just lost this game 2 times in a row.
I know that.
No, the trash talk is ongoing.
Okay, so you admit that you haven't watched West Virginia football pre what? Gino?
So, yeah, no, I would say like 2005 is when I first started watching, but I didn't like start internalizing. Like, I was just watching because I liked football, so it wasn't like Mountaineer football. I was just watching football. And so, like,
you need to watch some of those
the
games
craziness
from
of
like the
games.
90s and 80s. They're fun to watch. Like they've got a game. They've got the Oklahoma game on there from what
82.
82.
Yeah, it's cool
We
to watch
went out
those
there
old
and
ones
beat
on
them.
YouTube.
That's a fun one to watch because Oklahoma gets up and it's like ahead, and then we
the Oklahoma's running that like wishbone offense and stuff. It's just fun to watch, like the old styles and stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll definitely
I like to watch some of the 88 season.
I started watching some of the
Oh, yeah.
Georgia game from 2000 and what did you say 2005?
Yeah,
2005.
that's a good one.
Sugar
Yeah,
Bowl.
see, I didn't watch that, so I started watching it the other day.
Yeah,
I could
that's great.
probably
West Virginia's
quote.
jumps up what 28-7.
I could quote everything Brad Nessler says for the first 10-15 minutes in that football game broadcast.
Yeah, those
He
like
even
the bowl games from
He
like
messes up when he's announcing the Georgia offensive line. He said it's a big group.
Yeah.
It's a good gloop, but he says gloop.
That's me. It's like I've
always
watched the
noticed
bowl games from like that all the BCS bowls and the Gator Bowl from like that run. I've watched like all the bowl games so much that like I can tell like by where they're on the field, like what yard line. I'm like, oh, okay, so they're 52 yards away. This is the Steve Slayton draw play, and he bounces to the outside for the touchdown. I'm like, this is the 50.
Yeah.
It's like you've watched it so many times. You're like, oh, this is the 52-yard Slayton touchdown, or this is the, so it's like I love it.
Yep. You never can get
Good memories. Good memories.
tired of watching those games. I feel like, especially that Georgia game's fun to watch.
It is because it was like really like us a bunch of momentum, then them a bunch of momentum, and then us closing it out at the end. That fake punt was awesome. So, yeah, fun one to watch for sure. Definitely love going back watching the old Mountaineer games on YouTube. A lot of good memories there. We shared some good memories in this episode where we discussed our worst losses and best seasons. News, Mountaineer multiple choice, got it all in. That being said, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we close out this edition of the Country Roads webcast?
Nope. I think I'm tapped out.
I just need to brush up on my history.
Come back with it hard next time, and maybe there'll be some different trivia in there too to mix it up a little bit. We'll see what I can do in the meantime. But have another off-season episode out for you guys in the near future. Be on the lookout for it. As always, share us around, rate us if you're listening on Apple Podcasts on the audio side. You can find us anywhere: Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. On the video side, do us a favor, hit that like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm as we continue to try and grow there. And please subscribe if you haven't already. As we always say, helps us, helps you, helps get more of this Mountaineer content out to Mountaineer Nation. That being said, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz for Steven and Bradley. Until next time, Let's go, Mountaineers.
If you really want to know, then come on, let's go. Take a stroll down those